The Lord was showing me my vision for the past 3 days about Nigeria. There is another kind of protest that is going to come. Can't tell when and how. But I saw a restless spirit like a rain. In the vision, a rain fell. And I saw the people who are outside receiving this touch of this rain were youth, both female and male. And as soon as the rain drops on their head, there was a kind of a crazy reaction I saw. Not like a reaction of people out of their mind, but I saw a reaction that has to do with a mental orientation. And I saw every part of this country occupied by youth. It's not about Sars. This had to do with the government of the day. And I'm worried the government of Nigeria, a great president, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, and all the senators and the House of Rep and leaders and governors should not undermine and look down on the recent move of the youth. There is another move that is going to come. It's going to even be beyond what any of the youth or any celebrity can stop. It's going to be very strong. I think it's time to pay attention to the youth. I can't call this a revolution. I call this a movement. I might push every leader in this country to the wall. And the period where the youth in this country will determine their destiny is very close. It might not be a major ruling party or a major opposition party. It's going to be the mandate of the youth. It's very, very strong. It's time to pay attention to the youth. It's going to be very, very strong, very, very strong. That all the whole world will stand still very soon for the youth of this country. It's going to be something that will become a prototype for other countries' youth to learn from. There is a spirit that is like a rain that I saw. It drops on the youth of this country. I saw women, most especially, behaving like men. You will know that this is not ordinary. I saw women behaving like men. The radicalism, the aggression, forgotten on, not on a negative part, and the level of intellectual capacity is beyond what I could explain in my vision. The government of the day should not sweep. This thing you see happening now is not about Sars. This is an elementary thing. There is a spirit like a rain that is dropping. If I am the government of the day, I want to tell them, immediately engage your youth seriously, in serious dialogue, and pay attention to them. If you trivialize this movement, you will not be able to sleep in your homes, great leaders. If you trivialize this movement, you will not be able to sleep in your homes. It is not about security operatives calming protests. It will be beyond them. It's going to be a thing that even the security operative will join the movement. I saw that in my dream. Let's be very careful. Apart from this revelation, let's look at what is going on in Nigeria, because we're going to pray. My father happened to be a soldier before he retired. The security operatives in this country are doing their best, like the police, the soldiers, etc., Navy and the rest, and Air Force. They are putting their life on the line to ensure that lives and properties are protected. To me, I feel it's painful when I see soldiers die in the hands of Boko Haram, and some of them are set up. I've seen families cry. My father went to fight the Liberia war and Sierra Leone peacekeeping, and I know so many of them who went and never came back. Sometimes we ask ourselves, what is the federal government and the government of the day, or the previous government to this time do as part of incentives to encourage our security operatives, our police, soldiers, Navy, and the rest? I feel they are underpaid. You can't talk about corruption as a lecture if you don't block the loopholes. Let their salary, let there be, look into the salaries of the police, pay them well, and then when you talk about them maintaining integrity, they will maintain. Some of them don't even have good barracks where to stay. You have to look at the life of these people that put their lives on the line. Some soldiers die and their wives are abandoned and they are not paid anything. And how much do they take as gratuity back home? This is part of the reason why we have some internal corruption in forces, in the armed forces, be it police, soldier, Navy, custom, and the rest. Sometimes our politicians are taking much of the money that is supposed to be made for the real civil servant and people who are serving this country very well, like teachers too. This is one of the reasons why we are having the problem we are having. The police, soldier, they are all there are corrupt police, but not all police that are corrupt. There are corrupt soldiers, not all soldiers are corrupt. There are corrupt men of God, not all men of God that are corrupt. There are corrupt medical doctors, not all medical doctors that are corrupt. There are corrupt politicians. Let us not just handle it, so that we don't have the issues where the people who are protecting us in this country, their morale will be down, and we have crime and rate of killing and wickedness will increase, because there's nothing like a discouraged force. It is very, very important. And what do we see? When people are qualified to be promoted and they are not promoted, and people are qualified to be retired and they are not retired, and the people that are supposed to come into the position are not there and they retire, we have series of battles that are going to happen. The Nigerian police force was established in 1930. And when you look at it, the police force is about 90 years old or so old. And that's to show you that it is even older than Nigeria. The police force is older than Nigeria. Sars was established in 1992 and just 28 years old. So when you look at it very, very well, you find out that even the force we are talking about is older than the country itself. But the force itself is not having the attention that some part in this country are having. I think it's time for people in the Senate, in the House of Rep, and those executives to look at the police, the soldiers, and pay attention to them. That is not to say that fighting the corruption in the police force, so many of the youths have been killed innocently, massacred for dressing well, massacred for holding a laptop. We all know that we are now in an internet war where you can do your business on internet. It's not everybody that holds laptop that is a Yahoo boy. So the rate at which young men have been killed, bastardized, destroyed is terrible. So let us begin to look at it. You see, it's not a one-way thing, it's a two-way thing. From the salary of the police and to the abuse of power from some few elements, like what we pastors are suffering. You don't find that all prophets are corrupt, all prophets are this. It's everywhere. But let us not generalize it. Let's deal with the bad eggs, bring them out, and work on them. And I feel it's not just about the police, the issue of bad government. When there is a bad government, we are going to have issue of poor governance or poor attention to things that matters. When we have one single person having house in Dubai, having house in America, having house in Canada, having house everywhere, looting money that will be able to pay the police, and their morale will be high, and they will deliver the way they ought to deliver. So this issue is not just an issue that has to do with just military. In my own few words, I want to say the soldiers, the police are doing well. And let's be very, very careful so that we don't just eat up the morale of most of these people who are protecting us. So that when we get to that particular point whereby police are no longer doing their work the way it is, the crime rate will increase, and there's going to be a lot of lives that are going to be in trouble. Right now, there are people being kidnapped in Abuja here, and so many things are happening because of the rate of the standard of living has gone down. Inflation is everywhere, and things is happening. Lives are being affected. So let's be very careful. Even I'm talking to us even as youth. Let's be very, very careful with the way we do, and make sure that we are constructive even in everything we do. We should balance our criticism so that we'll be able to think through and sit around the table and dialogue and have a headway. But that does not say that the vision I saw should not be given attention by the government of the day. If you don't give that vision attention, we're going to have what we might not be able to handle. Are we ready to pray? Open your mouth. Pray for Nigeria as God will want you to pray for Nigeria.
Ipakatalados, Ikatakataladas, Etasuko Preketeketeledes, Ikatakapakata, Elosakatalegodosa, Ikapataladoskode, Lekapratos, Ikapata, Ikapatarados, Ekete, Etasupradikatalato,
Leshatebe, Lokoto Separadia,
Ekopretekete, Ekapakatarata, Ekopreketekete. Lito Sekaliata, Ekapato, Repose, Kekete, Epakadarata, Iyanagada, Eko Pregede, Leto Siata, Ikapatarata, Leko Pradikalia, Elegade, Leko Pradikalia, Leto Seke, Epakatarata, Leto Sikali, Leto Pradika, Elegade, Leko Proto Seke, Ikapatarata, Leko Sekalia, Rako Pregede, Lako Predika, Leko Sekalia, Lako Prede, Lako Sekede, Librado Sekalia, Lako Zobones, Leko Sikatalata, Lako Pregede, Iato Pradika, Lako Seke, Italiata, Leko Predikalia, Lehiro Nostania, Rako Pregede,
in Jesus' name.
Amen.
We are going to pray. Believe me or you don't believe me. If our leaders don't treat the source of these symptoms, what we are seeing now is symptoms. The source of these symptoms, there's no way we will not get to a part where we begin to define and begin to decide whether we stay together. That's the truth. You cannot continue to suppress a voice that cries for justice when there is injustice. The reason why we are having these symptoms, these are symptoms. This is not the real thing. We are having the symptoms. We are just clamoring against the symptoms. The disbandment of SARS is not the issue. Once we have a place producing oil and there's water pollution, air pollution, and they are not attended to, and the resources from this place are taken away to other parts of the other country, and the people who produces these resources are not enjoying the resources from their land. It is injustice. We cannot continue to have people who think we are part of this country and they have never been a president in one way or the other. There is a certain group in this country that never ruled this country. The highest they could get is vice president. You can't say there are things, when there are injustice, there's going to be a problem. We have to define how to rotate power from one region to another. That this region we have to hold on for this region to rule, and this region we have to hold on for that region to rule. It is not just it does not have to be one particular region to the detriment of the other region. You can't force it. Injustice is injustice. Until we have leaders who are capable to just stand up, do what is right. If not, we continue to use the police force. We use the military and everything to suppress the voice of justice. And there's a point where the voice of justice cannot be suppressed. It will lead to what we are praying against. And that's why it is good for every stakeholders in this country to talk about the injustice that is happening to certain regions and the justice that is happening to certain regions, and say it has to go down. If you talk about Nigeria, we are one, but are the resources distributed judiciously? Are we having the power share judiciously? Are there people who are suffering from the other place? You cannot continue to beat a baby and tell the baby to keep quiet. Pray and say, Lord, help our leaders to make good decisions.
To make good decisions.
That will bring about the unity of this country.
That will bring the unity of
Open
this
your
country.
mouth and pray.
My Father, help our leaders to make good decisions that will bring unity in this country. My Father, help our leaders, Lord, help our leaders. Good decision. Let go bring it in. Let go go zegede. Let us bragadesh. Let go go zegede. Libre katosiata. Ikapatarata. Let go zikalia. Let bragados kalia. Let kundalia. Let patakatarata. Let go bregede. Ia go bredia. Let go bredia. Oh Lord, help our leaders to make good decisions. To help our unity. To help our togetherness. To help our life. Ikapakatarata. Let go brede. Let kabarata. Ia go bredia. Let go bregede. Yato. Yato bregede. Yato kadarada.
Declare, Shaka Paradis. Come. The enemy wants you to die with what is going on with you. Kotikapa.